Skinny Hardaway Southern T, back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor, y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, if it's your first time, if you could do your boy a favor, hit that subscription button as well as hit that thumbs up. Don't make it your last time. I ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time today. I just want to have a boxing conversation with y'all real quick. I kind of feel like, right, I didn't drawn this fight up right. I kind of feel like I didn't manifested this fight right in my mind. I've been saying the whole time. Man, let's stop talking about Earl and Bud. If we gonna talk about a fantasy fight, I'd rather talk about, Jermell Charlo and Earl Spence fighting, right? I've been telling my guy TD, for the longest, man. Y'all know the fight that I really want. Y'all know the fight I really want. If y'all been around here, y'all know the fight that I really want, right? That Jermell versus Earl, right? We all know how Earl Spence feel about it, right? Earl Spence has been on record. He said, on a number of occasions, right? Shit, if the bag right, I'll fight anybody. They asked Earl Spence personally, you know what I mean, right next to Jermell Charlo. They asked them both how they would feel about it. Charlo said he really wouldn't want to do it, right? It was about 2.5 years ago. Earl Spence said, man, if it's a life-changing amount of money, right, I don't see why we wouldn't do it, right? He said, this boxing, we do this to feed our families. And how do we feed our families? We do it by fighting. Earl Spence said, if they offer us, a life-changing amount of money, then yeah, I'll do it. But Jermell Charlo, right, he still answered now at the present time, right? Well, Tim Tszyu and Tony Harrison, they just had a face-off not too long ago, right? Where Tim Tszyu was seen victorious in stopping Tony Harrison, right? So Jermell Charlo was seen at the he was saying at the Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez fight, right? And I don't really know how this question came up, but they asked Jermell Charlo, right, about him in a possible fight with Earl Spence. Shout out my guy 22G. I don't know if it's your first time, but if you could do your boy a favor, hit that subscription button, hit that thumbs up for your boy. We talk this good boxing every day, not just today. Greatly appreciate y'all sliding through this thing, right? But at the Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez fight, they got a hold to Charlo, and they asked, Jermell Charlo, how will he feel, about a possible fight with Earl Spence? What's good, 503? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, 503. Shout out my girl, Quick. What's good, Quick? Let me holler at the people in the building real quick. Let me not be rude. What's good, Quick? Appreciate you sliding through. My guy, MP, what the fuck? What's good, MP? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Glad you can make it. Shout out my guy, MP, watching the ads. Y'all do like my brother, MP. Y'all watched a couple of them ads, so y'all come in. Shout out my guy, 22G. Do your boy favor, hit that subscription button. Greatly appreciate you sliding through. Let's try to help keep the lights with the views, because I ain't going to take up too much of y'all time today. Shout out my guy, 503. What's good, 503? Appreciate you sliding through this, John King. Glad to make it. Keep up the good work, my brother. Keep up the good work over there, right? But a reporter, right, had got a hold to Jermell Charlo at the Caleb Plant, versus David Benavidez fight. And they asked him about, a possible fight with Earl Spence, right? And now when asked about this fight a couple years back, Jermell Charlo's tone was a little different, right, from what it was, when they asked him about it recently, right? More recently, Jermell Charlo was open to a fight with Earl Spence, right? Now, I know some of us, may or may not want to see it. I'm one of the ones that do want to see it, right? I like great fights. Earl Spence and Jermell Charlo very well could be, right, pound for pound, the two best fighters, today, right? So, why not see them, getting that thing and throw down? I most definitely pay for it. I'm sure y'all will pay for it, right? Shout out my guy Ghost. I knew my guy Ghost was gonna come in here fire. He said, I got Spence sleeping B class Charlo inside 9 rounds. Hey, y'all know I done been on record. I didn't state how I feel about this before, right? I ain't gonna state it in this video, but if y'all been around, y'all kind of know how I feel about this, right? I ain't gonna say it right now. It might surprise some people, but y'all know how I feel about this, right? But I digress, right? I digress. They asked Jermell Charlo, right, how he'll feel about a possible fight with Earl Spence, right? And his tone was a little different this time than it was in previous years. This time, Jermell Charlo was a little more open to it, right? He said kind of what Earl Spence said, right? I almost quoted him exactly, right? I almost, quoted him exactly. When I asked Jamel said, if the money right, then we'll get it on. And that brought joy to my heart. Y'all should have saw how big my, matter of fact, I'm bringing the camera. I'm going to bring it on right now. Y'all should have saw how big my smile was when I read it. I just read it again for a second time, and my face just lit up again. You know what I mean? Jermaine Charlo said, if the money right, we'll get it on. So you got Earl Spence. So you got, he said, nah, bro, look, we about to read it. We about to read it right now, 503. We about to read that thing right now, 503, right? He said, if the money right, we'll get it on. He said, Jermaine Charlo apparently has come around to sharing the same viewpoint as Earl Spence. As soon as that thing came on, right, they hit him with the same thing that I was saying. And this is my first time, reading this junk, right? I like to read it with y'all. This is my first time reading. So they came on with the same shit I said. Jermaine Charlo apparently has come around to sharing the same viewpoint. What you talking about, 503? What you talking about, Doc? I want you to elaborate a little bit on it. He said it in a recent interview, Charlo, undisputed junior middleweight champion from Houston, Texas, expressed interest in the idea of fighting his friend and training mate Spence and unified welterweight champion from DeSoto, Texas, on one condition. It will have to be for a pretty penny, right? This is Jermaine Charlo words, exactly right. This Jermaine Charlo words, quote unquote. Johnny Q, what's good, Pimp? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Glad you can make it. This Jermaine Charlo words, quote unquote. He said, of course, I will be open to fighting Spence, as told on Brian Custer. Okay, so this was on Brian Custer. So when I first saw this joint, they said it was I guess it is an interview, huh? But it was Brian Custer on the last Stand podcast. I gotta go check that joint out. He said, if the money right, we'll get it on. That's never been brought to me. Is not something that I would deny. He said, if the money right, then we'll get it on. It's never been brought to me, and it's not something that I would deny. So that's basically Jermaine Charlo. If Jermaine Charlo wasn't at the play fight, there was Jamal Charlo. Yeah, okay, bet for sure. Yep. Because he said right here he was at Brian Custer. Okay, yep. Fact remains the same though. Jermaine Charlo seemed like he came around to that Earl Spence fight, and he ended it with, I gotta go check that Brian Custer joint out. And he ended it with, that's not something I would deny. So he kind of like doubled down on that joint. He was like, he said, if the money right, we'll get it on. He said, it's never been brought to me. So that's kind of like, I ain't ducking. And then he was like, it ain't something that I would deny. You know what I mean? And you know that he said, Skinny, we are in fact up in this bit. What's good, BC? Appreciate you sliding through. I love seeing them TWTs in the building too. Oh, this shit getting spicy. I can't even get through this joint. Right? But I digress. Charlo has previously batted away any suggestions of a fight between him and Spence, as they share a trainer in Derrick James. But Spence has always seemed to be a bit more amenable to the idea. So as long as the commensurate paycheck is attached, I guess there's a way of saying, as long as the right paycheck is attached, a big paycheck is attached. Fancy word. Never really seen this shit in my life. That word was thrown in there to throw off niggas like me. I digress. He said, now Charlo is on the same page with Spence. This is Charlo words, right? Quote unquote. I know Earl said the same thing. Hey, who knows? Later on in future life, we can do what we do. Right now, we're stable mates. We're brothers. We ain't doing that. Okay, so he kind of came back with the same thing. He said, okay, this the reporter. Public clamor for a fight between Charlo and Spence may only get louder if, as some reports have suggested, Spence moves up to 154. I kind of just alluded to that a little bit. If Spence moves up to the 154 division later this year, Spence, a career welterweight, has made it clear it is becoming increasingly difficult for him to make the 147-pound limit. Charlo, on the other hand, has stated he does not feel the need to leave 154-pound ranks anytime soon, citing his interest in defending his titles against the mandatories, as well as fielding challenges from potential newcomers, including welterweight titleists. Charlo, 32, is recovering from a broken hand that he sustained last December during the sparring session, causing him to pull out of the scheduled fight against mandatory challenger Tim Tszyu. Their fight had there has been talk that fight could be scheduled later this year, possibly late summer. Possibly late summer. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, beauty. If y'all could do your boy a favor, hit that thumbs up for your boy. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, we greatly appreciate you sliding through, right? But I'm finna go back and I'm finna read the quotes right out of Jermell Charlo mouth, because y'all know I like to read them, straight from the horse's mouth, right? This is Jermell Charlo. He said, "Of course, I'll be open to fighting Errol Spence. If the money is right, we'll get it on. That fight has never been brought to me, but it's not something that I would deny." And then here go Jermell Charlo again. He said, "I know Errol Spence said the same thing. Hey, who knows? Later on in the future, we could do what we do. But right now, we're stable mates, we're brothers, and we ain't doing that." So it's still kind of a mixed message, you know what I mean, a little bit. But he's saying if it's brought to him, then it won't be a fight that he'll turn down, right? So I guess that's him, putting it in the PBC hands, right? If they bring it to him, then, he'll fight him. But like they said, and like I alluded to, if Earl move up to 154, like I've been saying for a few years, bro, I got a couple videos on this thing. It's crazy. I can go back and pull them jumps up for y'all real quick, but I'm not, because that's gonna take too long. But I got a couple videos on this, man. This been the jump that I wanted for a minute. You know what I mean? I think pound for pound, very well could be, 1 and 2, right? Most definitely 2 out of the top 5, right? I think I've been saying for the longest, man, if we can't get Earl and Bud, right, which you probably not gonna get, what's an even bigger, better fight? Even bigger, better, more competitive fight? Jermell Charlo versus Earl. The truth move up to 54. He either getting whooped on pay-per-view, his first successful pay-per-view, or vacating, moving up. He know what's up. Ghost still feel like Jermell go move up. He said they ain't go fighting. He said they ain't fighting, bro. It's a long shot at this. I kind of do feel like it's a long shot by what Jermell's saying, kind of sort of, because he led with I'll fight him, and then he kind of went right back to. But I tell you this: if Jermell Ghost might have just said it, right? He said they barely want to pay EJ for Bud, but right, you gotta think 503. This ain't EJ versus Bud. Bud ain't one of their fighters. Jermell and Earl, both of their fighters. This is an inside fight. That fight gonna be a lot easier to make than Bud. It wasn't no. Man, they couldn't have gave Bud shorter. They couldn't have gave Bud shorter $25 million for Bud to take that fight, man. Bud outpriced himself. Jermell and Earl, it ain't gonna be that hard. It ain't gonna be that hard to make. It ain't gonna be that hard to make, man. Bud made that fight hard. Hey, look, y'all gonna make me stretch this EP how long than I want to be. I'm finna get up out here, man. I appreciate y'all sliding through here. I'm gonna get about day, because I'm finna go and get about my day. But I greatly appreciate y'all folks sliding through this thing. Skin Hardaway Sudden T. This ain't the past. Skin Hardaway Sudden T. This ain't the past. This ain't the future, but this the present. This how you rocking. And I'm out. Love.